Hello guys. In this video we're talking about the 2015 movie I'm a Hero. It's according to the news program reported about the attack of a rabid dog. The injured woman received medical attention. The current condition of the victim is not specified. The owner of the dog was found dead. Presumably his death was due to multiple bites. Soon there was a new message that the victims had woken up but were suffering from many symptoms, and the reporter also reported the arrest of a 35-year-old man who attacked people. Meanwhile, Hideo Suzuki, together with his colleagues, draws a manga that, in his opinion, is loved all over the world. After working, Hideo returns home during dinner. His girlfriend named TK watches a video that describes guys with whom there will not be a happy life together, and D recognizes himself in many ways. At night the guy is looking for inspiration for a new manga. He takes his hand out of his locker and then poses in front of the mirror. He is interrupted by a girl who asks to sell guns because in her opinion Hideo spends too much money for his hobby. He is trying to convince his beloved that everything will change soon thanks to his manga. In the morning, Hideo comes to the publisher's office and shows his new manga, but the publisher does not like the guy's work, because at the moment no one is interested in action. Moreover, the main character of the comic's too simple and people will not want to follow his adventures. The publisher advised to reconsider his decisions and come next week. Soon Heidi meets a man with whom he won the best amateur manga 15 years ago, but after winning their paths parted ways. An old acquaintance enjoys great success in this area in contrast from Hida girl in I Grow Up when he finds out about the publisher's verdict and decides to part with him. After which he kicks the guys out of the house. He stops on a bench, reads his friend's manga. After reading he admits that the manga is really interesting. The next day on the news they report disturbing news in the country quarantined due to the according to preliminary data, the virus killed 4 people in one night. According to preliminary data, we are transmitted through blood and saliva. One of the colleagues, the idea, feels bad and goes on a break, and a little later, the mentor comes into the office, who also feels bad. Hideo's colleagues conclude that the mentor has a love relationship with the girl after the mentor's eyes darken. But no one notices this. In the late afternoon Hideo the girl calls. The guy goes to the balcony so as not to accidentally wake up Cola in the fresh air. Suzuki notices several helicopters flying by in the summer. The girl asks for forgiveness from her boyfriend and says that she still loves him. He reciprocates. In the morning Hideo uplift. He goes home. He tries to open the door and call his beloved, but nothing comes out. Aaron looks through the door slot and notices the girl lying on the bed at one moment. It's not natural and she rises and falls from the bed, after which she makes strange gestures. She approaches the door, makes a jerk that breaks the door lock and attacks her boyfriend and accuses Hideo of leaving her and continues the attack. The guy almost managed to push the distraught woman into the apartment, but in an attempt to bite the guy, she loses her teeth because of the door that got in the way. The shocked Hideo allows herself to be grabbed and the girl throws him into the apartment where she bites the artist by the hand but does not cause serious damage. And since there are no teeth left, the Hideo accidentally pushes the girl right on Kuba. The sharp end of the goblet kills the infected lady. Frightened Heddies leave the apartment. On the way he notices an agitated and injured girl as well as at least a dozen planes coming to the office. Throwing notices a colleague who is standing next to the TV. The guy calls him. This one turns around holding a bloody bat in his hand. Hideo sees dead colleague and the henchman of the guy going to the guy is sleeping, and if he turns to Suzuki and asks about the manga. At that moment, the colleague finishes off the infected mentor. Then he tells the guy that the only way to kill the zombies is to destroy their brain. Besides those who were bitten waiting for a speedy appeal. Later it turns out that the mentor bit his killer when a colleague began to turn into a zombie. He takes a knife and begins to cut his throat so as not to become a monster. Meanwhile Hideo is attacked by the mentor's mistress and he runs away from the office on the street. People were attacked by zombies but no one understood anything, and D decides to seek help from a policeman but he was already infected. The guy runs away and stops on the road when he notices black smoke and a running crowd of people in the company of zombies trying to survive. Hideo wakes up a sleeping taxi driver to do his job and take the guy away from what is happening around hell. He was in no hurry to open the doors and Hedy decides to use guns to defend against the approaching. The excess of the zombie is true. In fact, the guy fantasized about a taxi. A man in a business suit runs up and gets into the car without any problems, followed by a hit with a stranger. On the news they report that there is an emergency situation in the country and that it is better for all citizens to flee from cities during a trip. A person in a suit rolls up his sleeve. Their idea notices a bite on his hands. Then the man begins to turn. He asks the driver for napkins, and when he gives them, the infected bites him and attacks Hyde. The driver opened the door near which there was a zombie and Suzuki pushes the aggressive one onto the road. but he clings to the legs of a stranger, decides to help the guy, and by joint efforts they manage to get rid of the zombies. Soon the taxi driver turns to him. He tries to attack the passengers sitting behind him while the car is still in motion. Taxi unrolls over it. Almost unharmed survivors get out of the car and notice the road blocked by broken cars. Hidden Hiromi sit on the sidewalk looking on the internet for useful information about what happened. Soon the phone goes down, but they manage to find out that the virus most likely did not reach Mount Fuji, where they decide to go along the steam path. Decides to stay in the hut. Keep the bun in the hut. The girl says that Hideo's guns scare her, but he reassures the girl and compares the weapon with a protective amulet in response. Hiromi shows her protective amulet after they start listening to music, and the girl tells the guy her name in the morning. Throwing it, notices a bite on Hiromi's neck and jumps up holding a weapon at the ready. The girl confesses that she was bitten by a baby the day before the tragedy and what happened to the child then she doesn't know. Hiromi asks to kill her because she doesn't want to be a zombie, but Hideo says that too much time has passed since the bite and she is still man. Guy promises girl's then he will protect her until they get to the mountain in the forest. Hiromi felt bad and asked Hideo to leave her. He notices that the girl's eye has changed. She gives him her amulet and turns. The guy asks for forgiveness and runs away into the forest, where she meets a walking person, and yes, I didn't think that he is turned and comes too close, because of which he almost allowed himself to be bitten by the guy. Saves Hiromi, who neutralizes the infected and then starts to snatch happiness from his body. The girl comes up with the idea of helping the guy up. He decides to continue the journey with her since it does not harm him. A few days pass. Throw it away and carry the girl on his back and go out onto the road, in the middle of which there is a cart. In the cart there is nothing but garbage. He uses the cart not to carry the girl on his back. While walking along the road, Hideo discovers a trade tailor. There were no living people in the clothing store. The guy chooses his jacket, but at one moment the seller attacks the guy and saves him. An unfamiliar girl and comrades soon come, and behind them a horde of zombies. And yes, I covered Hiromi's left eye so that others would not recognize her features. The group decides to run to the base, where there are even more survivors for Heidi and Hiromi. The escape goes well and they get to the safe zone, where there are many people live on rooftops and pay attention to Rolex. Said that he always wanted the same man. In response brings a whole basket of watches. At night Hideo spends time with the girl who saved his life in the store and asks about the girl who would be with him. He says that they met by chance while he also tried to survive. He says that he is trying to help her, but he admits that he is not a very good bodyguard. The girl thinks the guy is cool. The next day, Hideo pays attention to zombies that jump high from a run and fall on his head. One of the survivors tells the guy that in the past this zombie he was a champion in track and field athletics. The survivors tell Hideo of the grocery store. The store in it can have enough food for a year and a half. One of them asks for a gun ear, since with him the chances of picking up food will increase. He refuses. The camp leader decides to take his partner a prisoner and informs him about this. Hideo the guy runs out of the tent and threatens with weapons those who tries to pick up the infected girl. Soon the leaders come to aim the crossbow at the girl next to her. Two men, one of whom has Hiromi's knife, fights off too, but the leader, who understands that sit down and can kill a man, shoots and hits Hiromi in the head from something, falls to the ground. Hideo they catch and take the guns. The guys beat them, but the leader demands to leave the heady as he will be needed as a bait. She reports that the arrow did not pierce her skull. Moreover, Hiromi has a pulse and beat the heart, unlike other infected. In her words, the heart of the infected does not beat after treatment. The new leader prepares and motivates people to go out for groceries. Those who remain on the roof begin to attract the attention of the zombie pack. The rest go outside. The former leader sent one and Hideo right behind without any problems. The group manages to get to the underground storage. Inside it is very dark and someone unexpectedly turns on the light for everyone. They take advantage of this and run to the storage, guided by the map, while someone is watching the group through CCTV cameras. While the survivors are picking up food, the music turns on. The sounds of a zombie running in and biting one of the group. You shoot a shot attracts the attention of a new crowd of the dead. Throwing it is forced to split up with the group because the way to them was blocked by zombies. The man who set the horde on people turned out to be their former leader, who makes the music louder, thereby attracting all the remaining infected in the district. Indoors, X-Go decide to hide from the zombies in the closet. Meanwhile, the athlete makes another jump to the music and falls right into the safe zone. Soon the surviving girl notices him. This one kills her, and immediately after he kills another, crushing his head with his bare hands. Hideo hears a voice while hiding in the closet and notices the walkie-talkie there. A girl who reports that a guy is on the roof of a zombie can't talk to her because near the radio, two infected on the roof, only two are left alive and the dead turn into zombies. Throwing courage and out of the closet, he is attacked by an infected who bites the guy by the hand. He fights off him, and then they check the hand that is closed for hours. Rolex Sneakers picks up a walkie-talkie and reports that he is already going to help, and in the meantime, the girl, together with Hiromi, goes downstairs and gets to the underground room where she meets the former leader. He informs her about the car in the second block and demands to leave the girl if wants to go with him. Moreover, he offers to do an love with him, and then the girl notices that he is bleeding and understands what happened. The guy turns and puts his fingers in his eyes and then tries to attack the girl in time. Hideo arrives in time, kills zombies and saves them after they meet a new leader and an old man, and after they are surrounded by zombies, Hiromi starts talking to the guy. She lets him know that Hideo is not an ordinary person at all. This one starts to shoot back from the dead. As a result, only 3 survive. They were able to defeat everyone except the athlete. The guy finds another cartridge and hits him directly in the head, but this does not kill him because the brain is located below. The zombie runs at the girls and Hideo smashes the remains of his head using a gun as a baseball bat. They get to the car and skis. The girl turns on the music. PDF sighs with relief, and the movie ends. For today, all the guys, do not forget to subscribe so as not to miss new videos. Thanks for watching.